Hi, Dawn Lewis here. Welcome back. It's day 2 of this Unicorn Trio card project. Today I am going to be again using Majestic AF by Ink Road stamps. I'll be stamping with Memento Tuxedo Black ink and Ranger Archival Jet Black ink, as well as Picked Raspberry Distress Oxide ink. I have a variety of Copic markers. You'll see the colours come up on the screen as I use them. I'll be using Express-It blending card, some white cardstock and a white card base. I have foam tape, 3mm double-sided tape, some scissors for fussy cutting, and a stitched rectangle die. You can use any one you like, but if you're looking for dimensions and measurements and so on, you can find it on the blog. First things first, we're going to cut this stitched rectangle die from just, regular cardstock, and I will be stamping a unicorn onto some blending card using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Now I use Memento Tuxedo Black ink because it's perfect for Copic markers, and I use my Misty stamping tool or my Tim Holtz stamping tool so that I can double stamp it because it's not the blackest tool in my kit, if you know what I mean. I did stamp the sentiment in Ranger Archival Jet Black ink because the Copic markers won't be touching it. Now here we go with the Distress Oxide inks, and I'm going to create a full-on all-over stamp background. This is kind of like stamping your own pattern paper that coordinates with your hero stamped image, I know. So in this unicorn set, the Majestic AF, there are 2 unicorn stamps. One has a simpler mane, it's a little smaller, and that's the one I'm using for the background today. Now, when you're doing an all-over background, one of the things you want to do is make it look like you've cut this from a larger piece of paper. And an all-over design means you're going to run off the edges. Now I'm using a craft sheet here, but you could use a piece of paper. You just pop it under the edge to protect your work surface. And now I'm going to use those filler stamps again. I love these. This is the sparkly star, and I'm putting that in all over the place in, where there are fairly decent sized gaps. The next one I'm going to use is that cute little, I don't know, it's like a naive folk arty kind of rose. It's an oval with another sort of circle in the top, but it's kind of got that folk art flower feel about it. I'm also going to use the wonky circle. I like that this has kind of got thick lines on it, and it's not a perfect circle, but it's not an oval either. It looks hand drawn, and I don't know, I can't tell you why I really enjoy this stamp. I just do. So I've given this an all over look, and now we've got our piece of background paper. It still needs a little something though, but while I think about what it needs, I decided I'd start putting some adhesive on all my pieces. And the beauty of having a craft mat is sometimes you can put it to the side on the craft mat and then just peel it up. But I thought matting this on some pink cardstock was the way to go. I'm just eyeballing it using my Tim Holtz guillotine. I love this guillotine. It cuts so straight and so clean. I love it. And I'm going to pop some foam tape on the back of that. Now, sometimes you can tear foam tape, but I don't know, I just tend to use scissors all the time. I can't tell you why, I just do. So I am peeling off all of the release paper on that and just putting it to the side. I figured out what this background needed, and it needed a border. It needed something to stop your eye kind of roaming off the edge of it. So I blended some of the Distress Oxide Picked Raspberry ink all the way around and just let that dry for a little bit before adding 3mm double-sided tape. And this means that I can pick up my card base, make sure it's right way up, pop my panel on the front, which is cut just a fraction smaller so that it's got, a little bit of a border around the edge, add on my colored and matted piece. And I decided it needed something else. I wanted to stamp inside the card, but not a sentiment. I'm adding the same unicorn I used, the smaller unicorn, on the inside. I still thought it needed something. I really enjoyed the glimmer of the Perfect Pearl Water that I used last time, so I'm just dropping a little droplet of water into each of those wonky circles, and it looked so cool. I let it dry and then I did it again, and then I gave it a little light spatter, but mostly I wanted nice strong pearlized sort of centers to those wonky circles, and I think this came out well. When you tap the pearlized water down with a brush or this little tube, you've got a lot more control over where it goes. So I was just randomly dotting it all over the place. I may have gotten a little carried away, but here we go. You can see the pearlized water on here. I did give it some direction, sort of going from top left down to bottom right corner of that unicorn colored piece. And then I thought, you know what, I put the white gel gel pen on the last card, I wanted to really make this unicorn a little different. So I've added white dots down some sections of the mains, as well as dotting on that background just around the lower left portion of those little naive flowers. So there we go. That's it. That's as easy as it can be, using exactly the same products as yesterday, but in a completely different configuration. If you missed it before, here's the cover of Handmaids, might be where you saw it. And if you're looking for ink road stamps in Australia, you can find them at dawnlewis.com.au. Tune in tomorrow for our last video in this 3-part series, showing you a different way that you can use your Majestic AF stamp set. I do hope you're enjoying this video series, and if you are enjoying it, please hit subscribe so you can find out when I have brand new videos available. I love to show you ways you can take one stamp set, one product, and use it lots of different ways. I do hope that you have a very crafty day, and I will see you tomorrow for part 3. Bye for now.